the promo poster for Pokemon X, Y, and Z the movie.
Really, Ando? The Pokemon movie? It can't get more worse than that.
The old school Pokemon anime, it's absolutely fantastic. I actually haven't watched any of the Pokemon X and Y anime yet. Should I watch it? Leave a comment in the comment section below. I know, I've just heard it's not as good as the original.
Well, guess I was wrong. I think it's about time to stop my video. Intro!
Pokemon Ranger! I choose you!
What's up everybody, it's your Pokemon Ranger Boy here, and welcome to... Well, this is actually a requested video from one of my subs who was complaining about Gen 1 anime fans talking shit about Pokemon in general and how only Gen 1 is the best and blah blah blah. You know, the things every Gen 1er is saying in several forums. But today I will try to convince those anime Gen 1ers and Misty fans that there's more than just the Kanto saga. And although I enjoyed every season of Pokemon, yes, even Black and White, today I will talk about my fave Pokemon anime season, which is of course X, Y, and Xy&Z. That's why I will present you my top 10 reasons to have a closer look at XY and Xy&Z and why it's worth checking out. So without any hesitation, let's get right into my top 10! At number 10 we have the character designs. One of the first things which really stands out from XY compared to all the other seasons are the character designs. In general they look much taller and a little bit slimmer compared to the old designs, and to me this is just more appealing. Best example for this drastic change in character design is Ash. Just look at him. On the left we have Black and White, and on the right we have XY. And even Gen 1ers have to admit that this design just looks way better. But not only Ash, but also all the other characters in general look really good. For example, Serena isn't that overly sexualized like we had in the past with Misty, May or Dawn. And also let's take a closer look at the rivals. In the previous seasons all the main rivals of Ash mostly tried to be and look like a wannabe badass. But if you compare those badass rivals with the main rivals like Shota and Tiano, you will see that the producers kinda have given up on that badass concept. And I totally appreciate that, because this makes all those rivals less badass but more relatable. And I think that's a positive change in the right direction, if the viewers want to identify themselves with the rivals. Of course they couldn't get rid of the badass characters completely, Alan, but I was still really surprised about this change. At number 9 we have the fan service. When it comes to anime fan service, it always has been connected with big boobs or big asses whatsoever. But this is not the fan service I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the fact that for the very first time the producers are actually listening to us. In the last few years, fans of the Pokemon anime have been complaining about several things. For example, Ash's stupidity, the non-improvement of the animation, bland and empty characters, the same concept over and over again, etc. And what did the producers do? They improved everything what we've been asking for. We now have a smart and badass main protagonist, the animation has improved vastly, the side characters finally have stories which the viewers can relate to, and although the main concept of going to one gym after another until the league hasn't really changed, we finally also get something which you can call a story. I will go on with the story aspect later on, but I'm really glad that the fans finally get the attention from the producers, and in my opinion, we deserve it. At number 8 there's another thing which is really unique in this anime, and that is something we never have seen before in the past, and that is an actual crossover between the main series and a side story. Of course in this case it's the Mega Evolution special, and although Ethan aka Gold made an appearance in front of Ash in a Pokemon movie before, for the very first time with Alan we have a character from a side story not only appearing in the main series but also has a huge influence to the main story of X, Y, and Z. And not only is he a huge influence, but later on he also became one of Ash's strongest rivals. I know for some of you that's really not important, but for me that's actually really huge, because in my opinion that means that the future of the Pokemon anime in general will be more open for interactions between Ash and other characters from other series. And maybe one day there will be a possible meetup between Ash and Red. Now that's something huge, and this chance only has been made possible because of this crossover right here, and that's why it deserves place number 8. There's one thing which is rather infamous for anime, and that is filler. Filler are used for expanding the runtime of long-running anime series, but at the same time they can be just plain annoying. And Pokemon is no exception. In fact, from the Indigo Plateau until Season 5 Master Quest, the Kanto and Johto arc has 34% fillers, and combined with so-called technical fillers, they have 46% fillers. In comparison, Hoenn has a combined filler number of 40%, Sinnoh has only 25%, and Unova has only 6%. Although this statistic is really inaccurate because they didn't really consider the N arc and the Decolora Islands. And the Decolora Islands is actually a whole filler arc. But the filler numbers, especially from the Kanto and Johto arc, really is a huge disappointment despite the argument of genwunners that it's supposed to be, you know, the best season of all time. But luckily XY and Xy&Z have taken the same route as Diamond and Pearl and Black and White. They have less fillers. I counted it. The XY series has 93 episodes, and from those 93 episodes, 60 episodes are not filler. Nearly 2/3 of the whole series are not filler. And at the moment, Xy&Z seems to take the same route. Within 35 episodes, there are only 9 fillers. 9 fillers. Of course, this number can increase while time is passing, but it still most likely will have less fillers than the first 2 seasons of the Johto arc. Johto Journeys with 49%, and Johto League Champions with 75%. The second arc of the Johto saga has 75% fillers. That's insane. So in conclusion, I'm really thankful that XY and Xy&Z are making less fillers like the past 2 sagas. And not only that, but in my opinion, some of the fillers are actually really enjoyable to watch. For example, the Mirror episode, the Pikachu special, and of course, one of my favorite fillers of all time, the Ash cosplay episode. Of course, there are some bad fillers as well, but I can proudly say that the Color Saga definitely is going in the right direction. And even this fact also can be considered fan service as well, since we get less and less fillers. But in my opinion, it was still a huge aspect to make this as a separate reason to watch the anime. Coming at number 6. Oh yeah, number 6. Most people would consider number 6 as the very first reason to watch the anime. But to be honest, it wasn't my number 1. But for a lot of my subs, it's their most important reason, and that is amour shipping, aka Satosere, aka Ash and Serena. Although I don't consider it my number 1, I still can't deny that amour shipping has a huge impact when it comes to the series. I've talked about fan service earlier, and that the producers are finally listening to the fans. But the biggest fan service they have given us is in fact amour shipping. The shipping fandom is nearly as old as Pokemon itself, and people have been searching for hints of potential romance for years. But with amour shipping, for the very first time, the writers have finally approved the shipping fandom as well, because now we have a shipping which is at least one-sided. And in my opinion, Ash isn't really that dense anymore and even has some amour moments as well. And it seems that they won't stop to deliver amour shipping moments. In fact, they even react to the disappointment of the fandom. For example, when the so-called date episode has aired, many people were really disappointed, and what did the writers do? They satisfied us with reintroducing Miette to the anime and therefore delivering even more and more obvious and awesome amour moments. How about the so-called dance episode? What have the writers done to apologize to the fans? Well, although in my opinion there was no need to apologize at all, it still was another huge troll moment. But what did they do? They delivered an episode which has never been seen before in any of the previous seasons by making Serena cosplaying as Ash, and this episode alone was not only fan service over 9,000, but also in my opinion was a huge and awesome apology from the writers to the fans, which just proves my previous point about writers interacting more with fans. So to sum up this point, amour shipping is really important to the series as a whole, because first, it's a sign of approval towards the shipping fandom, and secondly, it's another huge sign that the producers are actually listening and caring for the fans. So that's why amour shipping indeed is a huge reason why to watch the Pokemon Xy&Z anime. Coming at number 5, we have the story. I'm not really talking about the main plot of the anime, which is still as always, you know, collecting badges, fighting Pokemon, entering the league, etc. What I'm talking about is actually that each and every character has a dedicated story of their own. Ash now has not only a simple story of becoming a Pokemon master, but also trying to overcome a huge crisis or depression we never have seen before to this extent, which in my opinion is just mind-blowing. Then we have Serena's story of becoming the Color's Queen, which at first doesn't seem to be more different compared to May or Dawn, but in my opinion, Her beginning, her determination, and the obstacles she had to overcome to achieve her true desire is simply amazing. And I'm also really glad that the other side characters are not only comedic relief anymore, just like Brock or Silent, but both Clement and Bonnie had stories and problems they had to overcome. Clement wants to be a true inventor, but at the same time a good gym leader as well. He even had a huge inner conflict about his battle against Ash, and I just loved how they showed this development in regards of that. Although he kinda lost his main story after his gym battle with Ash, he still plays an important supportive role when it comes to the XYZ arc. Let us not forget what huge character development our little troll Bonnie had, and her huge spotlight is still coming up with her battle against Team Flare together with her beloved Puni-chan and the XY gang. So when it comes to the stories, I'm so glad that every character finally gets a huge storyline instead of being pushed aside by Ash's goal like former companions in the previous sagas. At number 4 we have the Pokemon battles. What I especially really like about this season and why I consider this season as one of the best ones ever are the Pokemon battles. In the past we had all those Pokemon attack scenes with all the stock footage in the background, and it just became less interesting, and they mostly used them in every battles, although they also have proven that they actually can animate battles really well. For example, the Ash vs Paul battle, which in my opinion is still one of the best battles I ever have seen. But despite that, all the other battles just felt so mediocre. But fortunately, the battles with the Color Saga are way better than the generic battles in the past. They are fast, exciting to watch, and also animated really well, thanks to fluid animation and the usage of 3D camera. And the gym battles, oh my god. Each and every one of them are a masterpiece, and from gym battle to gym battle they improve even more. And some of them definitely have surpassed the Ash vs Paul battle when it comes to fluid animation and intensity. And just like Amor shipping, the Pokemon battles are some kind of love letter, this time to the Pokemon battle fans, and they couldn't have done it better. So I really hope that the producers will stick with this kind of battle style in the future, and I will look forward to more action. But besides all the battles, one of the main reasons to watch the anime is of course to experience the main hero of the show traveling through the region while making friends and encountering numerous new Pokemon. But especially in XY he developed and changed so much that I had to put our boy Ash at number 3. You see, Ash Ketchum was someone who was an unpredictable battler, who behaved like a 10-year-old from the beginning of his journey until Black and White. And especially in Black and White, let's be honest, he was even dumber than a 10-year-old. But XY Ash somehow is different, not only from the outside but especially from the inside. He definitely has matured, he's more confident in his Pokemon and his battling skills than ever before, and although he still has that unpredictable style which makes him unique, he now finally uses legit battle tactics to achieve victory. And even outside the battlefield he matured a lot. For example, that one time where he pushed his own goal aside just to let Serena participate in the masterclass. And he also overcomes his own problems and depressions in a way which is more relatable to the viewers, by realizing that hard training isn't everything to make himself and his Pokemon stronger, and instead he had to get stronger mentally as well to be in perfect balance with his Pokemon. So after all these years, Ash finally has matured in every aspect, and that's why he has not only become a serious candidate for Carlos Champ, but also indeed has become a reason again to revisit the anime. My second reason actually is something I have mentioned a little bit before, but just like Ash, it is undeniable that this is one of the main reasons for a lot of people to return to this awesome anime, and that is the animation. I always point out the animation in my reviews for a good reason. And that's because for the most parts of the anime, not only the battles have been improved when it comes to animation, but the whole series in general. I still know the first time I've watched Pokemon XY and I was blown away of how awesome it looked. The Pokemon series was really good at the beginning when it comes to animation, but while time has passed, other long-running anime like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto or Bleach had surpassed Pokemon long time ago when it comes to animation. But with XY and Xy&Z, they finally have catched up with today's standards. Until this day, the animation is awesome, and since Xy&Z it improved even more, bringing in more darker animations in regards of dark moments and lighten it up during fillers or happy moments. No matter which kind of fan you are, a genwunner, a shipper, a battle fan, etc. whatsoever, you won't be able to deny that the animation of this series is by far the best animation we ever had till this day, and that we Pokemon fans now finally can say that Pokemon truly has become something we can call an actual anime instead of just, you know, a cartoon. So we finally arrived at number 1, and my number 1 reason might not be yours, but as you guys might know, this is a video based on my experience and my opinion, and although I really care about your opinions, in the end, this won't change the fact that this aspect is the most important reason for me, and that's the characters. There was no time or saga in the whole Pokemon anime universe where I was able to identify or relate more to the main protagonist than in XY, and for good reasons. I bonded so deeply with them that I consider them more than just fictional characters. For me, they are like family, and those 4 characters have helped me out in every situation. When I was sad, when I was depressed and nearly have given up on this world, Ash, Serena, Clement and Bonnie have helped me out and cheered me up. I love every aspect of each and every character. Ash's confidence, his eternal love to Pokemon, his clumsiness, his bravery, his ability to overcome every problem by just believing in himself. I love Serena's kindness, cuteness, her never give up until the very end attitude, her determination, her overall friendliness towards each and everyone, and especially her deep feelings for Ash. And I love Clement's creativity, his love towards his friends and his sister, his shy attitude towards embarrassing moments, and although he sometimes is really clumsy just like Ash, he also can be serious and straightforward when the situation requires it. And last but not least, I love Bonnie's straightforwardness in regards of every situation, no matter if it's about Ash's density towards love or to finally get a wife for her brother. I also love how much she cares for Pokemon and already takes so much responsibility for other Pokemon despite being so young. That just shows how much she developed as a person, and in my opinion she will be an awesome trainer in the future. And of course, combined with other characters, she sometimes can be such a troll, but that's also another reason why we love her. These characteristics and everything else in regards to this gang makes this anime just beautiful, and in my opinion a well-deserved number 1 on my list. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed my video just like always, and I can't wait to see you guys in my comment section down below. Bye guys!